What is going on, everybody? Clan Brandolorian here, and I am joined by the one and only. Take the floor, Andy.
Well, as you know, Andy, from the Galactic Core podcast, we are here at this moment in time to discuss the latest episode of Skeleton Crew, episode 4. But we are collabing for the entire series, so find us here every Wednesday, except for next week. Actually, you can find us on Boxing Day next week because next Wednesday is Christmas Day, so we're taking that day for our fams. Next week you can find us on Boxing Day, but the rest of the time, from now until the end of the series, which we're now halfway through as well, but we will be here every week to react and review Skeleton Crew. So halfway through, Brandon, how are you feeling now that we are at this middle point in the series? It's the back end. We just had a quick word before we came live about how we were feeling about it, because you've got to see it a couple of times. I've literally got the episode in like 15 minutes ago, but yeah, halfway through. How are you feeling about the direction of Skeleton Crew?
I feel like it's going in a good direction, but last night, this morning's episode, it was a slow burn. It was a stretch. Like I've said before, I have some numbness to it just because I'm a Walking Dead fan. I think almost 3/4 of the entire series is all filler, but it gives you a good insight on most of the characters. But this isn't the Walking Dead. This is the Skeleton Crew. So, yeah, it was an interesting first half. Of course, we have the mystery aspect. It's very up in the air. We still don't know exactly who Jod is and what he's going towards. The kids all seem like they have their own different, personalities, which makes them a good crew, and you see a lot more of that in this episode 4. But story-wise, very slow, and I feel like this could have been maybe a 15-minute arc in the second or third episode. But you got to stretch it out. I understand, but definitely was not my favorites. What about you?
Yeah, similar feelings really. It's not really taken off in the way that I was hoping in terms of being exciting and sort of flying around the galaxy trying to fly Tatooine. I mean, they've clearly decided that they're focusing on what the mystery of the planet is and everything surrounding that. So this is really what they've gone for in this episode, is deepening that mystery. And then especially at the end when we're finding out from SM33, sorry, that he does know where it is and that his former captain basically killed his former crew and got him to destroy the coordinates. But yeah, it's definitely a slower episode. Nice to see that the French Imperials have joined the Star Wars universe and they're alive and well on a different planet now.
Yes.
So it's so weird hearing like an accent that you can recognize. And I know there's always been those sort of accents around Star Wars, but then when you hear one like that, and I'm like, okay, that was kind of threw me off a little bit. It kind of takes me out of the aura of Star Wars a bit when you're like, okay, so I just heard a French accent, and famously the English and the French don't get on well, so I was like, how dare you? But yeah, I mean, it's all well and good focusing on the kids. For the first half of this episode, I found them a little bit grating, to be fair. I'm starting to get to that point where I'm like, I need more going on now with this story to really start kicking off. Otherwise, what's the point of it been? It's nice in a Star Wars universe to have different stories here and there because you want a variety of things in the universe to speak. It can't all just be Jedi and Sith. You need other bits to fill in the story, which is something that like maybe Andor being the first one that didn't concentrate on that did really well. But at the same point, we're halfway through a series, and I'm like, what's the point of this? How is this really filling into the deep of going into the deeper story of Star Wars and enriching that universe? So that's what I'm questioning right now with this. So, what were your thoughts on the whole mystery surrounding the planet? The fact that we got obviously a bit more information in maybe the missing other jewels that got destroyed, this being one of those planets. So everything's named at something or other. And we see, what was it, 5-6 names we got for the other places. So
Yeah.
how are you feeling about this little mystery?
It's different for sure. So I can appreciate that approach. I really want to know what is connecting all of these planets because I thought it was somewhere from like 6 to 9 planets, but yeah, so 6 sounds about right. And at Atchin
And
It was
Akron, I think this one was called.
Akron, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is this like?" It's like a knockoff planet, and then I'm also thinking, is this where we get the like Star Wars Stranger Things? Because it kind of looked like At-Aten upside down, basically,
Hmm.
destroyed and stuff. But I do love the mystery behind it because I mean, of course, a good mystery in a TV series, especially because you get longer screen times all collectively. So it, I'm very interested to see what happens, but kind of with Jod going in with the, his own mystery. Now we have to throw in a planet's mystery and why is it looking this way? But I mean, the main thing really is, SM-33, talking about his old master, his old captain, basically, and what is the point of, not wanting to get back to At-Aten and, keeping that away from others. Very, very interesting. And then we also hear about the booty. Basically there's a lot of treasure essentially that could be on At-Aten, and we've already talked, especially these last 2 weeks, about what At-Aten is hiding, and what the civilians and workers of that planet, like what are they going to be going through, especially once they find out, if they don't know already, of course. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that piqued my interest about this episode. Really, was obviously when SM-33 reveals the old captain killed his crew, made him sort of destroy the coordinates, and anyone that poking around, he's to destroy them limb from limb. But it then makes you think about, because he talked about obviously the captain didn't want anyone else to find the treasure, whatever this may be. So it then brings us back to why were all the rest of the planets in this group destroyed, but At-Aten was the one that survives or lives on with no knowledge of what's really happened to the rest of the planet or the galaxy at large. And it makes me throw a thought out there about maybe the captain, because obviously they clearly made it to At-Aten. The ship was crashed there and SM-33 was stuck on that ship, so he clearly made it there. If they're being disconnected from the rest of the galaxy and still being kept that way, and we don't know how long ago this was either. It could have been
Right.
5 years, could have been 50 years, could have been 100 years. So it makes me wonder now if the supervisor that's forbidding any contact with the outside world or that could be this old captain that's there, and he's somehow managed to wangle his way into being in charge of this planet and is keeping them everything for himself and living this life of luxury or whatever hidden treasure it is. Because we've seen some big ass guns on this planet now as well in this episode.
Yeah.
That the kids had. So maybe he's just hoarding all these weapons and treasure and everything for himself and just enjoying being king, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a good connection. Also too, it makes sense for him to crash his or maybe crash and hide his ship on At-Aten, so it's close to him, if he is the supervisor, basically. Talking about the supervisor, have you seen the theory that it could be Palpatine during his Operation Cinder time? What would you do if we saw like a hologram face of Palpatine, kind of like in Battlefront?
Yeah, it speaks to the Battlefront 2 story mode. If anyone out there has played that, because it does show obviously what happens with Operation Cinder and stuff. So, and because I did see that very briefly, that the satellites in orbit looked very similar to the weather controlling ones from Operation Cinder as well, that they used to destroy planets. So if you can say that the state of the planet is down to something like that going on, they used them in the past maybe to end up destroying the rest of the planets. It's an interesting one. I'm not so sure I put it down to an Operation Cinder and it being a hologram of Palpatine, but very possible that they've had similar weather controlling or orbital weapons that have destroyed each of these planets, and At-Aten is the one that's been left as it is. And they've got the barrier. So maybe the barrier is there to keep them all in, and the rest have had the satellites to destroy them. So yeah, it is an interesting theory. Again, 4 episodes to go. They've got a lot of ground to cover in this one to make it as relevant as I'm hoping that they do. Because realistically, if you're looking at this as being part of the Mandoverse, Ahsoka, the Mandalorian, even Book of Boba Fett to its own degree, it has a lot of relevance to the bigger story.
Right.
Boba Fett taking over Mos Eisley or whatever, and taking over Jabba's and area, and the connection that he has to the wider universe anyway, or the wider galaxy, and who he is as a bounty hunter to Cad Bane, to Mando, and everything like that. This story really needs to start fitting in with that somehow. Again, I guess it depends if we get a season 2. If they're going to squeeze a season 2 between, like, say, Ahsoka and the Thrawn movie to maybe give it a bit more connection. I guess that they have already mentioned about season 2 as a possibility. So, because we get Mandalorian Grogu in 2026, Ahsoka season 2 is going to follow that. I'd assume the Thrawn film was going to follow that, which I think we discussed before. So,
yeah,
if you're not going to throw the connections to that universe in this 4 episodes, then you need to have that season 2 to do it. I think we spoke before, maybe episode 1, that I wasn't going to stand for it in terms of you just throw them in there randomly or they just show up. So
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe the connection comes in the Mandalorian Grogu film. Again, we're just going to speculate on that, but I do like in this episode because the first half of the episode, the kids were grating on me a little bit, to be honest. And then the second half, when you do get a bit more time with, I mean, he's become everyone's darling anyway, isn't he? Little Neil. Everyone loves him and this personality that he's got. And this episode obviously gets a little bit more of that in there and is maybe having the impact on the young girl as well. So she's like, if I'm a bit older and I'm in charge of everything, that I'll remember your ways and doesn't have to be just complete aggression and all that war. So what are your thoughts on this little character progression that we're getting from Neil?
Yeah, I think it was really cool. Like in the earlier episodes, we get a lot of Wim and his background a little bit, with his father, and then obviously leading to his father, and what he works for. But I mean, it was time to give Neil, his shine. And yeah, he's, taking internet by storm. Everyone loves Neil. So I mean, yeah, he's doing great. I think that the dialogue for this episode really speaks a lot, just because the peace and the how he was really focused on talking about how fighting is dumb and things like that. So I mean, it's really good to see that Neil, being the fan favorite, is getting that attention. Kind of like my cat here who needs attention. But
hi, Lando.
say hi. But yeah, it's I think it's really cool. And plus, I mean, it capped off and it seemed like he was able to touch the girl warrior in a way, kind of pulling on the heartstrings to let her know that you don't need to be living this life or fighting per se. I guess that's all she knows. So basically, I mean, living that life is going to be a lot easier said than done. But at the same time, giving him the little smooch on the cheek, Neil for Emperor, it looks like that's the first step. So but yeah, I liked him getting the spotlight this episode. I thought it fit really well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we see a little bit with Fern as well in terms of she's worried that she doesn't know what she's doing and she's feeling a bit lost out there away from the planet. And then she's like, well, hang on a minute. They're just Wim's saying to her, you can't just say you'll find a way and I'll come up with the answer. She's struggling with this whole concept of now being the captain. But it's good to see her have a little moment of like true clarity about what the hell am I doing? I'm just a kid out here. But then almost realizing that she could almost just tell them what to do, and they will do it with SM33. So I like the fact that we are getting a bit more personality from each of them now, but at the same point, it's like I just need more from this story right now, more to bring it together. So I can see my lovely wife has made a comment that I probably agree with a little bit. Wim could do with a smackdown or normal boring discipline. So he is a little brat that's just like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and he runs off, and just because that's what his dad lets him do effectively, isn't it, from what we saw, because his dad's concentrating on his work and stuff. So he's just like, go and do what you want, here's some money, see you later, look after yourself, sort of thing. So
yeah, exactly. Good comment, Amy. That's really good. Thanks for joining us.
So where do we go from here?
Well, everything points to the Mandoverse. Obviously, that's the first thing that I take in this back half. Understanding how this ties in, who the supervisor is, and of course, where is this going with more so the overall story? Just how is this going to round out? Just because, I mean, we're already halfway there, and there's so many ends that we need to fill. I mean, we see this especially the first half of Ahsoka, it seemed like it was just kind of like the end of Rebels, maybe like a season 5.5, kind of just throwing it in a little bit, tying all the loose strings going into live action. But that makes sense. We get a killer episode with, Anakin in the World Between Worlds. Here we go on the back half. So I'm expecting an episode 5, just like we were talking last week with all of the Star Wars, having great episode 4 going into 5. So maybe there's a bigger entrance on the backside that we could see. But yeah, what are you expecting? Oh, here's Brady Bloomer again. Hello there. What up, y'all? What's up, man? Thanks for joining us again.
What's up,
Appreciate
Brady? Pop the Bounty Collector. Welcome as well, buddy.
Yeah, what's up? You're
So, Amy, I'm waiting for Disney to roll out its female parkour workout package any day now. So this is like a rolling joke in our household from going all the way back to the Kenobi series when you remember when Reva was running across like the street tops
oh yeah,
on the planet after Kenobi, and she was doing unnecessary parkour. And now, like every series, there seems to be a little bit of unnecessary parkour or something going on that just isn't needed. So I think this episode it was the little girl, wasn't it? The little warrior girl. So when they're hiding from the warriors that are walking through, and she needlessly just slides inside the thing for no reason, and then when she leaves Neil at the end, she just does the flip off the thing. So it's just they seem to love their a bit of unnecessary parkour nowadays in Star Wars. It just makes me laugh. To be fair, it's quite a fun little thing to see.
Oh yeah, or unnecessary spins like in the Book of Boba Fett. Drash with the half spin, light skin turnaround,
the 360 no scope.
Oh my god,
snipe. Oh, I love that though. I actually quite like. A lot of people complained about it. That's so not needed necessary, but I love a bit of flair because you probably expect that from the mods as well. A bit of unnecessary flair to what they're doing. It's like people do it in games all the time. Why not do it in real life when you're doing it with a bit of style? It's fun. But yeah, where do we go from here? I mean, you're right in the fact that like for most series, episode 5 generally seems to be a big one that kicks everything off into the back end of things. Happened with literally Kenobi, Acolyte, Ahsoka. So I expect it to really do kick off now. It looks like we're getting there because SM33 knows the situation with Assatin, and they're going to get that out of him. And I don't expect them to really head to any of the planets now, to be honest. I do expect them the next one to be back to Atatin, because I think by the end of episode 5 you need them back at home, because then you've got 3 episodes to tie up this whole mystery. What's going on with the planet, who is the supervisor, and how does it all resolve? And you got to fit Jod's story into that as well, because we've had little to nothing on there. So I expect them to really kick off in the next episode, to get everything going, get back to Atatin by the end of it. Or at least the start of episode 6 anyway. And then it all kick off in terms of what the mystery is, and it will be quite chaotic. The supervisor's brought down by the end of it. I'm expecting that to happen. And it will be revealed. It better be, because if they leave any loose ends, I'm going to kill them, I swear to God. Because it was another 30-minute episode as well, which is just classic Star Wars at the moment. Just not giving us those hour-long episodes that we really need, and I don't know why they don't do it. I think we'd say about this every week now. But I think the big mystery though is still going to be Jod. Like the planet is the mystery they're selling us, but that's, I think, the story a lot of us are waiting for, isn't it? What is going on with Jod? What's his situation? And we need to know a bit more about it, because I expected him to use a bit more force abilities in this episode, especially when he got the pirates came for him. The warriors, sorry. And he just claims that he bought his way out of trouble. So maybe it's just that pirate intuition, though, that you don't need to necessarily fight your way out if you can buy your way out.
True. Yeah. And just you talking, I also forgot right at the beginning, Jod was like, oh, there's At. And I was like, oh, damn, perfect. We're back already. This is great. And no. So yeah, we got to get back. We got to get back home next episode, and I'm really hoping that we get more. That's all I want, man. This episode was just so not what I was expecting, to where I'm just like, okay, I need just a little something, Just sell me just a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, Pop's got a good theory there. Going to Navarro to get a 733 fixed and get the coordinates to Atatin. We can go and see the little guys. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
The Anzellans?
Yeah, that's it. Go and see them, get them fixed. That would be quite cool. That would be a nice tie-in as well.
Oh. Interesting. That is really cool, because what if we go to Navarro, rest in peace Carl Weathers. Grief Karga could be maybe, away on a maybe a little run or something, but gets fixed with the Anzellans. Maybe they spark him back and give him a reboot of some sort to where he can really, pull those coordinates. Or this is where they run into Mando and Grogu, since they live there now.
Yeah.
Of course, if they're not on a run themselves, yeah. So that could be a cool way to tie it in. But then, is this an opportunity where Mando steals the show again? Is he going to go to at Atten and pull up in the N1 Starfighter and then helps, take down the pirates? He's already helped taking down Vane and Mossy guy, Gorian Shard.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I kind
Mando's
of forgot.
before.
Kind of forgot about the other pirates. To be fair, they're going to have to obviously come into it at some point as well. So,
yeah,
because I can't believe that their story's done in this series yet. So, Hondu for supervisor. That would be pretty spectacular. But Hondu's not that good to be able to do that for a planet.
That'd be funny. Or maybe it's his little Salacious Crumb that's the supervisor. Maybe his little red one.
But yeah, I mean, chances to tie it in there definitely, if they did want to do that and go to Navarro's like as a side mission. If Jod happens to know that there's Anzellans over there that could fix it or something like that. So yeah, that would be a cool tie-in. But they need to start bringing it together, because I'm starting to get a little bored, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
it's not quite got the excitement I was hoping for. Maybe I was, because it's a primarily like kid focused show. It was never going to be like super exciting. But I think I was still expecting a little bit more to come from this by now. So
for sure.
But you said it. Everything always sort of ramps up second half of a series. So next week, hopefully, we'll be back with a bit of Christmas cheer and a bit more action.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe we can see what's going on. Maybe there's a good reveal. We get a little tidbit of the pirates. We get a little tidbit of Jod. Maybe the kids, what they're up to, what they find out. SM-33. Maybe just a little sprinkle of what's all going on within the galaxy, and maybe we can kind of get hype for episode 6 going into the new year. Maybe that's when it starts taking off. So I'm just optimistic that next week is kind of the slide up and going down by episode 6. So maybe we'll see.
Absolutely. I mean, 4 episodes to go, including what's going to be a very special New Year's Day episode, because I believe New Year's Day is somebody's birthday.
Yes, I am indeed a New Year's baby, and we will do something pretty fun for that episode. We obviously are moving Christmas next week. That way we can enjoy times with our families, and we have some new additions to the family that we got to make sure their first Christmas is Gucci. But we will be back, and we will have some good cheer and leftover steam from Christmas, and then we will go from there. But I think I would just want to say thanks to everyone who chimed in today in the comments. This is probably the most that we've had, and especially on an episode like this, it's not to be too expected, but it's very, very much appreciated for everyone who chimed in. But Andy, anything else for me?
Was just to say, anyone that just wants to obviously chat Star Wars in general, or just see a good chat about Star Wars in general, Clan Brandolorian was a guest on the Why So Serious podcast last night. So pop over to their YouTube page and you'll be able to catch that episode. It was a great chat. It was a nice long chat as well. It was about 2 hours long that episode, wasn't it? So covered lots of stuff from just.
And you watched for 2 hours. Andy was just in your guys' shoes. So
it was the middle of the night for me. I just happened to be up and was lucky enough to catch the episode. But great chat. Go over there. Obviously, we're going to be here, we said, for the next 4 weeks. Just quickly, just in case there's any newcomers, mate, do you want to shout out where they can find Clan Brandolorian podcast?
Yes, of course. So we have Clan Brandolorian, the podcast, kind of like the side mission that we like to run on the channel. Go check that out on YouTube, and then audio version, of course, on Spotify. Make sure to check me out on Instagram. Follow me there for any of your insights with the Star Wars universe, lore, theories, Funko, Lego. Like to, we put a lot of time into the plastic that's behind us. So, I like to show it off a little bit. But yeah, go check us out there. And where can they find the Galactic Core podcast?
Again, it's pretty much similar places, to be fair. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, obviously Spotify, Apple Podcast. That's where it always goes out as well after I've done a live episode. Yeah, we're going to be here for the next few weeks. Big year coming up as well. Lots of things to do. It's just as a side note as well, from the 22nd of December to the 29th, Marvel What If Season 3 is coming out. A new episode every single day for 8 days. I'm going to be doing a 5-10 minute just live reaction video every day as well, just to keep on top of that and just to do that. But Christmas next week, everyone. You be loving it. My birthday's the 27th. Your birthday's the 1st. We have got
nice.
basically...
Perfect.
Yeah, for the next like 10, 12 days, essentially, we pretty much got party central. So Christmas, 2 birthdays, New Year. But pretty much that's it for now, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. We will be back Boxing Day afternoon for those of you over the pond in America. Boxing Day evening for anyone over here in the UK. But thank you very much for joining us from myself and Brandon. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. May the Force be with you.